Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Able to listen you, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Perfect.
Okay.
Prabhu, unable to hear. Not able to hear, Prabhuji. Arnanand Prabhu, can others hear? Because I'm not able to hear.
No, we cannot hear actually. The voice is cracking, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think, can you tell Prabhu, maybe locally, or maybe Prabhu is not able to hear?
He's
Okay, Prabhu, no problem. We are unable to hear. You are right. So
No, 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute. I will try. 1 minute.
it's okay. If you allow me, then I will do it. Okay. I thought you will do it, but I think you are right. Some issue is there.
1 minute. 1 minute, Prabhuji. I will try now. One more time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandar Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Prabhuji, now able to listen, Prabhuji?
Not clear, Prabhu. I think same as
Okay.
last time. Okay.
Please, from your side.
Anyway,
please.
you tried. Thank you, Prabhu. So first of all, thank you all the wonderful devotees for coming for this session. So before starting, I will take the blessing from all the devotees so that I can purify myself and for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavandi ki jai, Om Tat Sat. So we are all from couple of years we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. So today is my turn, and it is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 4. And we are hearing the pastimes of Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. So actually, to glorify such an exalted personality, it is not an easy task, but by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, we have been given this task, so that for my own purification, I will first, before starting the verses for today's session, I'll just glorify Madhavendra Puri. Who is Madhavendra Puri, and what he has done, the devotional service. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than the combined form of Radha and Krishna, he is the fruit. And the Acharya says, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Madhavendra Puri is the seed of that tree. So such is the exalted personality of Sri Madhavendra Puri. And in the Vrindavan Dham, where the Giriraj is there, so during that time, like what we are seeing now, it was not easy to identify. Only we know the Vrindavan by seeing the Giriraj and Yamuna river. But further, Sri Madhavendra Puri developed the Vrindavan Dham. So there is a place called Yatipura near this Vrindavana, and here Madhavendra Puri never used to sleep. So such was his devotional service. So he never used to sleep. He always continuously used to glorify the Supreme Lord, always chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he used to live the life like that. And his spiritual master was Lakshmi Pati Goswami. And he used to always sing the glories of Gopi Geet. He used to sing in the mood of separation, and he used to always glorify the Supreme Lord. And he used to always cry in the separation. And those are the exalted symptoms of the pure devotees of the Lord. And to that extent, the Lord himself came in the dream, and Srinathji appeared in his dream and is instructed to do the devotional service. And we all know the Chirichora Gopal in Remuna. There is a temple where he got the sweet rice from Gopalji. And here now the deities are there in Nathdwara, Srinathji, we say, So that is established by Madhavendra Puri only. And he used to offer the Chapan Bhoga to the Lord. So that's how Lord has inspired him to do the worship to the Gopinath ji. And he also instructed to go to the Jagannath Puri to bring the Chandana and Karpura, so that, because he told that I am in the place where during the during the Muslim rulers, that time this deity was there in the beneath the earth, bushes were there, but Lord has come, appeared in his dreams, and he told that you take me out and do the Abhishekam and offer the bogas, and also bring this Chandana and Karpura from Jagannath Puri. So that's how this famous Amrit Keli, that kheer is famous, and the Lord likes that one. And the Lord himself has given this to Shiva Madhavendra Puri. That was the love and affection between the Madhavendra Puri and the Lord Gopinath. And he is not an ordinary person. He is the spiritual master of Haridas Thakur, and he is the spiritual master of Advaita Acharya, and also the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri, who is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So such is the exalted personality Madhavendra Puri. And today's chapter is about the Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to, in the summary, in the beginning of the chapter, Srila Prabhupada gives the narration how Ishwara Puri was exalted. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was narrating this story to Nityananda Prabhu, when he was traveling from Navadip to Jagannath Puri, and in between their place comes Remuna, that is the place name. And there Madhavendra Puri was in Govardhan in a dream. Again, Lord inspired him to do the deity worship, and he established the deity of Sri Gopalji on the top of Govardhan hill, and that's how the further it goes. So we'll go to the today's verse, and then we'll see what Prabhupada is telling in the purports. So Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 4, Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service, text 138. So till 137, our grace Radharani Mataji taken. So we'll move forward. Eta bali namaskari karila gomana, avesha karila puri sekshira bhakshana. The priest offered his obeisances to Madhavendra Puri and returned to the temple. Then in ecstasy, Madhavendra Puri ate the sweet rice offered to him by Krishna. Patra prakshalana kari kanda kanda kaila, bahir vashe bandi se tikari rakila. After this, Madhavendra Puri washed the pot and broke it into pieces. He then bound all the pieces in his outer cloth and kept them nicely. Pratidina eka kane karena bhakshana, kaila prema veshahaya adbhuta katana. So each day Madhavendra Puri would eat one piece of that earthen pot, and after eating it, he would immediately be overwhelmed with ecstasy. These are the wonderful stories. Thakura mora kshira dila loka sabha suni, dina loka vidahabe mora pratista jani. So having broken the pot and bound the pieces in his cloth, Madhavendra Puri began to think, the Lord has given me a pot of sweet rice, and when the people hear of this, tomorrow morning there will be great crowds. So here we can see when Lord himself has given the sweet rice, and Madhavendra Puri is thinking that this will come to know to all the village people, then the glories will be there. So that is, we can see from the mood of the great exalted acharyas. They don't want to show the devotion to the others. So that's why the devotional service is an internal part. It is not to show externally. से भाई रात्रि शेषा चालीला श्रीपुरी से खाने गोपीनाथ दंडवत करी. Thinking this, Sri Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to Gopinath on the spot and left Ramana before morning. Chali chali aila puri Srinila chala Jagannatha deki aila premita wala. So walking and walking, Madhavendra Puri finally reached Jagannath Puri, which is also known as Neelachalam. There he saw Lord Jagannatha and was overwhelmed with loving ecstasy. So in olden days, there was no like transportation of cars or flights. So that time they used to travel by walking only. Prema veshe uti pade hase nache gaye Jagannatha darashana mahasukha paye. When Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, he sometimes stood up and sometimes fell to the ground. Sometimes he laughed, danced and sang. In this way, he enjoyed transcendental bliss by seeing the Jagannath deity. So when Madhavendra Puri went to Jagannath Puri, he had a darshan of Lord Jagannath. So he was in ecstatic symptoms were there, and he was singing and having a full of tears in his eyes. Madhava Puri Shripada Ila Loka Ila Khati Saba Loka Shitandre Kare Bahu Bhakti. So when Madhavendra Puri came to Jagannath Puri, people were aware of his transcendental reputation. Therefore, crowds of people came and offered him all sorts of respects in devotion. Pratisthara Swabhava Jagata Vidita Yena Vanche Tarahaya Vidata Nirmita. Even though one may not like it, reputation as ordained by providence comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world. So such was the exalted personality, Sri Madhavendra Puri. Pratistara Bhaye Pure Gele Palana Krishna Prema Pratistha Chale Sange Gadana. Being afraid of his reputation, Pratistha, Madhavendra Puri fled from Ramana, but the reputation brought by love of Godhead is so sublime that it goes along with the devotee as if following him. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, almost all the conditioned souls within the material world are envious. Jealous people generally turn against one who automatically attains some reputation. This is natural for jealous people. Consequently, when a devotee is fit to receive worldly reputation, he is envied by many people. This is quite natural. When a person out of humility does not desire fame, people generally think him quite humble and consequently give him all kinds of fame. Actually, a Vaishnava does not hanker after fame or great reputation. Madhavendra Puri, the king of Vaishnavas, bore his reputation, but he wanted to keep himself outside of the vision of the general populace. He wanted to cover his real identity as a great devotee of the Lord. But when people saw him overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, they naturally gave credit to him. Actually, a first-class reputation is due Madhavendra Puri because he was most confidential devotee of the Lord. So sometimes a Sahajiya presents himself as being void of desires for reputation in order to become famous as a humble man. Such people cannot actually attain the platform of celebrated Vaishnava. So here, Prabhupada is telling that especially the Madhavendra Puri was such an exalted devotee. So naturally, people used to praise him. But actually, he want to avoid that. And that is the symptom of a great Vaishnava. They don't want to publicity in general populace that he is a great devotee. No. And that we can learn from Sri Madhavendra Puri. Yadapi Udvega Haila Palaita Mana Thakurera Chandana Sadhana Haila Bandana. Madhavendra Puri wanted to leave Jagannath Puri because the people were honoring him as a great devotee. However, this threatened to hinder his collecting sandalwood for the Gopal deity. Jagannatera Sevaka Yata Yate Ka Mahamta Sabake Kahila Puri Gopala Vratanta. So Sri Madhavendra Puri told all the servants of Lord Jagannatha and all the great devotees there the story of the appearance of Sri Gopala. So further, here Madhavendra Puri is telling all the servants of Lord Jagannath the appearance of Sri Gopala. Gopala Chandana Mage Suni Bhakta Gana Ananda Chandana Lagi Karila Yatana. When all the devotees at Jagannath Puri heard that the Gopala deity wanted sandalwood in great pleasure, they all endeavored to collect it. So when the story was telling by Madhavendra Puri to his the devotees there, then further we'll see how Madhavendra Puri want to collect the sandalwood and the karpura. Raja Patra Sane Yara Yara Parichaya Tare Mage Karpura Chandana Karila Sanchaya. Those who are acquainted with the government officers met with them and begged for camphor and sandalwood, which they collected. It appears that Malayaja Chandana, sandalwood and camphor were used for Jagannath deity. The camphor was used in his aratrika and the sandalwood was used to smear his body. Both these items were under government control. Therefore, the devotees had to meet with the government officials, informing them of all the details. They attained permission to take the sandalwood and camphor outside Jagannath Puri. So these were like very important things. So the sandalwood and camphor was not like openly available. It was under the government. So if they want to take, they need to take the proper permissions. Eka Vipra, Eka Sevaka, Chandana Vahite, Puri Gosanira, Sange, Dila Sambhala, Sahite. One Brahmana and one servant were given to Madhavendra Puri just to carry the sandalwood. He was also given the necessary traveling expenses. Gati Dani Chadite Raja Patra Dware Raja Leka Kari Dila Puri Gosani Rekhare. To get past the tall collectors along the way, Madhavendra Puri was supplied with the necessary release papers from the government officers. The papers were placed in his hand. Chalila Madhava Puri Chandana Lana Kata Dinere Munate Uttarila Gia. In this way, Madhavendra Puri started for Vrindavana with the burden of sandalwood, and after some days he again reached the village of Remuna and the Gopinath temple there. So now Madhavendra Puri is going from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, collecting this Chandana and Karpura. Gopinatha Charane Kaila Bahu Namaskara Prema Veshe Nirta Gita Karila Para. So when Madhavendra Puri reached the temple of Gopinatha, he offered his respectful obeisances many times at the lotus feet of the Lord. In the ecstasy of love, he began to dance and sing without cessation. So when Madhavendra Puri reached Remuna Gopinathji temple, then he is singing statically and he is dancing. Puri deke sevaka sabha samana karila Chira prasada diya tandre bhiksha karaila. When the priest of Gopinath saw Madhavendra Puri again, he offered all respect to him and giving him the sweet rice prasadam made him eat. So by seeing the pujari there, the Brahmana pujari, he gave the sweet rice to the Madhavendra Puri. Sei Ratri Devalaya Karila Sayana Shesha Ratri Haila Puri Dekila Swapana. So Madhavendra Puri took rest and that night in the temple, but toward the end of the night, he had another dream. So here, Madhavendra Puri is getting dream after dream. And in the dream, what Lord is going to tell, we'll see. Gopala Shiya Khaye Sunaye Madhava Karpura Chandanami Pailama Sabam. Madhavendra Puri dreamt that Gopala came before him and said, "Oh Madhavendra Puri, I have already received all the sandalwood and camphor. Karpura Sahita Gasi Esaba Chandana Gopinatera Ange Nitya Karahalepana." Now just grind all the sandalwood together with the camphor and then smear the pulp on the body of Gopinath deity until it is finished. So the Lord in the dream is telling that now you got this Karpura and Chandana, now you grind it and apply to the Gopinath deity. Gopinatha marase ekange haya inhake chandana dile ave mora tapakshayam. There is no difference between my body and Gopinath's body. They are one and the same. Therefore, if you smear the sandalwood pulp on the body of Gopinatha, you will naturally also smear it on my body. Thus, the temperature of my body will be reduced. So the Lord is telling that when you apply this Chandana and Karpura on the deity of the Gopinath, it is as good as you are applying onto me. Gopala was situated in Vrindavana, which was far from Ramana. In those days, one had to pass through provinces governed by the Muslims, who sometimes hindered travelers. Considering the trouble of his devotee, Lord Gopala, the greater well-wisher of his devotees, ordered Madhavendra Puri to smear the sandalwood pulp on the body of Gopinatha, which was not different from the body of Gopala. In this way, the Lord relieved Madhavendra Puri from trouble and inconvenience. So, when Madhavendra Puri is traveling back from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, so he came to Ramana, where the Gopinath darshan he had, and in the same night, Gopinath is revealing him in the dream, because during those time, now also we see that some people, they obstruct in the devotional service. So similarly, even during that time, the people were against the Hindus. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning Vidana Bhaviya na kariya kichu mane Vishwasa kari chandana deha mara vachane. You should not hesitate to act according to my order. Believing in me, just do what is needed. So Lord is telling that do not hesitate, just follow my instructions. Ita bali gopala gela gosani jagila Gopinatera sevaka gane dakiya nila. So after giving these instructions, Gopala disappeared and Srila Madhavendra Puri awoke. He immediately called for all the servants of Gopinatha and then they came before him. So all this is happening in the dream. So when Madhavendra Puri woke up, he invited all the near and dear devotees and he is telling further. Prabhu Ragna Ilaye Karpura Chandana Gopinathe Range Nitya Karalepana. So Madhavendra Puri said, smear the body of Gopinatha with this camphor and sandalwood I have brought for Gopala in Vrindavana. Do this regularly every day. Ina ke chandana dile Gopala hebe sitala Swatantra Ishvara Tandra Agnya se Prabala. If the sandalwood pulp is smeared over the body of Gopinatha, then Gopala will be cooled. After all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely independent. His order is all powerful. So Madhavendra Puri is telling, whatever Lord is telling, we need to do that. Grishma Kale Gopinatha Paribe Chandana Suni Anandita Hele Seva Keramana. The servants of Gopinath become very pleased to hear that in the summer all the sandalwood pulp would be used to anoint the body of the Gopala. So we all know that now also is summer. So during the summer, when we apply the gopi, this chandana, sandalwood pulp and camphor, the body becomes cool. And the Lord wants this. Puri kahe duye gashi be chandana arajana duye deha dibaye betana. Madhavendra Puri said these two assistants will regularly grind the sandalwood, and you should also get two other people to help. I shall pay their salaries. So Madhavendra Puri is assigning some devotees and some assistants, and is ready to bear the whatever expenses. Ye mata chandana diya prataya gashiya paraya sevaka sava ananda kariya. So in this way, Gopinathji was supplied ground sandalwood pulp daily. The servants of Gopinath were very pleased with this. So the servants were enjoying this service to the Gopinath. Pratyaya chandana paraya yavatala anta tataiva rahila puri tavata paryanta. In this way, the sandalwood pulp was smeared over the body of the Gopinath until the whole stock was finished. Madhavendra Puri stayed there until that time. Grishma kala ante puna nila chale gela nila chale chaturmasa ananda rahila. At the end of summer, Madhavendra Puri returned to Jagannath Puri, where he remained with great pleasure during the whole period of Chaturmasya. So now it is a coincidence. Now the Chaturmasya also started recently in the purport. Srila Prabhupada, what he mentions, we'll see. The Chaturmasya period begins in the month of Ashada, June, July, from the day of Ekadashi called Shayana Ekadashi. In the fortnight of the waxing moon, the period ends in the month of Kartika on the Ekadashi day known as Uttana Ekadashi, in the fortnight of the waxing moon. This 4th month period is known as Chaturmasya. Some Vaishnavas also observe it from the full moon day of the Ashada until the full moon day of Kartika. That is also a period of 4 months. This period calculated by the lunar months is called Chaturmasya, but others also observe Chaturmasya according to the solar month from Shravana to Kartika. The whole period, either lunar or solar, takes place during the rainy season. So Chaturmasya should be observed by all the sections of the population. It does not matter whether one is a grahastha or a sannyasi. The observance is obligatory for all the ashramas. The real purpose behind the vow taken during this 4th month is to minimize the quantity of sense gratification. This is not very difficult. In the month of Shravana, one should not eat spinach. In the month of Bhadra, one should not eat yogurt. And in the month of Ashvina, one should not drink milk. One should not eat fish or other non-vegetarian food during the month of Kartika. A non-vegetarian diet means fish and meat. Similarly, Masoor dal and Urad dal are considered non-vegetarian. These two dals contain a great amount of protein, and food rich in protein is considered non-vegetarian. On the whole, during the 4th month period of Chaturmasya, one should practice giving up all food intended for sense enjoyment. So especially these 4 months, which is now Chaturmasya, from last Ekadashi it has started. So Srila Prabhupada is telling that anybody like a grahastha or sannyasi, everybody should do this Chaturmasya Vrat, because the purpose of doing this is to minimize the sense gratification. So that's why in these 4 months, like Lord goes for sleep, so not many auspicious activities happens. So this is like little austerity we should take as a human being. Shrimukhe Madhava Purira Amrita Charita Bhakta Gane Suna Prabhu Kare Ashwadita. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally praised the nectarian characteristics of Madhavendra Puri, and while he related all these to the devotees, he personally released. And this all Katha is telling to Nityananda Prabhu and devotees, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is relishing by glorifying the Madhavendra Puri. So such is the exalted personality, Madhavendra Puri. Prabhu Kaye Nityananda Kara Vichara Puri Sama Bhagyavana Jagat Nahi Ara. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu to judge whether there was anyone within the world as fortunate as Madhavendra Puri. So Lord is glorifying the Madhavendra Puri and is asking Nityananda Prabhu, is there any such person greater than Madhavendra Puri? Dugdadana chale Krishna yandre deka dila tina bare swapna shi yandre agna kaila. So Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Madhavendra Puri was so fortunate that Krishna personally appeared before him on the plea of delivering milk. 3 times the Lord gave orders to Madhavendra Puri in dreams. So 3 times Lord appeared in the dreams of Madhavendra Puri and he instructed Yanda prema vasana prakata ila seva angikara kari jagata tarila. Being oblique because of the loving affairs of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Krishna himself appeared as a Gopal deity and accepting his service, he liberated the whole world. So how Lord is Bhakta Vatsala, we can see here. When a devotee is fully surrendered to the Lord, how Lord reveals everything to the devotee. And that's what we can see in this slokas. Yanda lagi gopinata chira kaila churi ataiva nama haila chira chora kari. On account of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Gopinath stole the pot of sweet rice. Thus he became famous as Kshira Chora, the thief who stole the sweet rice. So the Lord is stealing butter in the month of Kartik month, in the month of Damodar month. We see that how Lord is stealing the butter from the gopis and is enjoying and relishing and is giving butter to his friends and to the monkeys he is feeding. And similarly here, by seeing the pure devotional service of Madhavendra Puri, the Lord himself paid in this deity form and he is stealing the butter, stealing the kheer, which is sweet rice, for the giving to the Madhavendra Puri. Karpura Chandana Yanda Ange Chadaila Anande Puri Gosanira Prema Utalila. Madhavendra Puri smeared the sandalwood pulp over the body of Gopinath, and in this way he was overpowered with love of Godhead. Malicha Deshe Karpura Chandana Anite Janjala Puri Dukha Pabeya Janiya Gopala. In the province of India, governed by the Muslims, there was much inconvenience in traveling with the sandalwood and camphor. Because of this, Madhavendra Puri might have gotten into trouble. This became known to the Gopal deity. So, as we saw earlier also, even during that time, there was threat from the Muslims. So, the Lord is thinking that because the sandalwood and this camphor is a very like expensive thing. So Lord is thinking that maybe he may get into trouble, people may trouble him. Mahadaya Maya Prabhu Bhakata Vatsala Chandana Pari Bhakta Shama Karila Safala. The Lord is very merciful and attached to his devotees. So when Gopinath was covered with sandalwood pulp, Madhavendra Puri's labor became successful. Purira prema parakasta karaha vichara alokika prema chitta lage chamatkara. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed the standard of Madhavendra Puri's intense love before Nityananda Prabhu for judgment. All his loving activities are uncommon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, indeed, one is struck with wonder to hear of his activities. When the living entity feels spiritual separation from Krishna Viraha, he has achieved the prime success of life. When one becomes disinterested in material things, he is simply experiencing the other side of attraction for material things. However, feeling separation from Krishna and engaging in the service of the Lord to fulfill his mission constitute the best example of love of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to point out this intense love of Krishna exhibited by Srila Madhavendra Puri. All Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees later followed in the footsteps of Madhavendra Puri, serving the Lord without personal considerations. So here we can see how Prabhupada is glorifying the Madhavendra Puri, and Madhavendra Puri's devotional service is in the mood of separation. How the gopis served the Lord Krishna in the Viraha Bhav. Similarly, here the Madhavendra Puri is serving the Supreme Lord in the Viraha form. Parama Virakta Moni Sarvatra Udasina Grama Varta Bhai Dvitiya Sangaina. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued. Sri Madhavendra Puri used to remain alone. He was completely renounced and always very silent. He was uninterested in everything material, and for the fear of talking about mundane things, he always lived without a companion. So Madhavendra Puri is such an exalted personality. He used to not to mingle with the common people, and he used to always be in a secluded place, and always 24 hours he was meditating on the Lord and chanting and doing the kirtan. And as I said in the beginning, Madhavendra Puri used to not to sleep. That was the Madhavendra Puri. Ena jana gopalera agnamrita pana sahasra krosha asi buli chandana magina. After receiving the transcendental orders of Gopala, this great personality traveled thousands of miles just to collect the sandalwood by begging. Boke rahe tabu ana magina kaya ena jana chandana bara vahi lana aya. Although Madhavendra Puri was hungry, he would not beg food to eat. This renounced person carried a load of sandalwood for the sake of Sri Gopalam. So Madhavendra Puri, he was not eating anything, and he never used to ask anyone. Even he was not doing the Madhupuri also. So by seeing this, the Lord was very much pleased with the mood of service of Madhavendra Puri. Maneke Chandana Tola Vishesha Karpura Gopale Paraibaye Ananda Prachura. Without considering the personal comforts, Madhavendra Puri carried one mound of sandalwood and 20 tolas of camphor to smear over the body of Gopala. This transcendental pleasure was sufficient for him. Utkalera Dani Rake Chandana Dekina Tahane Daila Raja Patra Dekana. Since there were restrictions against taking the sandalwood out of the Orissa province, the tall official confiscated the stock, but Madhavendra Puri showed him the release papers given by the government and consequently escaped all the difficulties. So when he was carrying the sandalwood and camphor, so some challenges were there, but Madhavendra Puri overcome that because he was authentically taking everything by taking permission from proper authorities. Malicha desha dura pata jagati apara kemate chandana niba nahi vichara. Madhavendra Puri was not at all anxious during the long journey to Vrindavana, through the province governed by the Muslims and filled with unlimited numbers of watchmen. Sange eka vatanai gati dana dite tatapi utsaha bada chandana lana haite. Although Madhavendra Puri did not have a farthing with him, he was not afraid to pass by the tall officers. His only enjoyment was in carrying the load of sandalwood to Vrindavana for Gopala. So that was the unflinching devotional service towards the Lord. He was not afraid of anyone. His only pleasure is to apply this Chandana and Karpura on the deity of Gopinath. Pragada premera ye swabhavara chara nija dukha vignadira nakare vichara. This is the natural result of intense love of Godhead. The devotee does not consider personal inconveniences in all circumstances. He wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in the purport, what Srila Prabhupada mentions, we'll see, it is natural for those who have developed intense love for Krishna not to care for personal inconvenience and impediment. Such devotees are simply determined to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, the spiritual master. In all circumstances, even amidst the greatest dangers, they undeviatingly carry on with the greatest determination. This definitely proves the intense love of the servitor. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tatya Anukampam Susumukshamana. Those who seriously desire to get free from the clutches of material existence, who have developed intense love for Krishna, are worthy candidates for going back home, back to Godhead. An intense lover of Krishna does not care for any number of material discomforts, scarcity, impediments, or unhappiness. It is said that when one sees apparent unhappiness or distress in a perfect Vaishnava, it is not at all unhappiness for him. Rather, it is transcendental bliss. In the Sixth Shastaka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also instructed, Aslishavapada Ratam Pinastumam. The intense lover of Krishna is never deviated from his service, despite all difficulties and impediments brought before him. So whatever the challenges, impediments were there, these are all actually the stepping stones for the devotional service. So that's why Prabhupada is mentioning that if any devotee is having some challenges, that is only a test by the Lord, that how means determinately we will be serving the Supreme Lord, despite of all the challenges. Etara gada prema loke dekaita Gopala Tandre Agna Dila Chandana Anitem. Sri Gopala wanted to show how intensely Madhavendra Puri loved Krishna. Therefore, he asked him to go to Nilachala to fetch sandalwood and camphor. Bahu Parishrame Chandana Ramona Anila Ananda Badila Mane Dukkana Ganila. With great trouble and after much labor, Madhavendra Puri brought the load of sandalwood to Ramana. However, he was still very pleased. He discounted all the difficulties. So such is the devotional service. Even though so many challenges were there, but Madhavendra Puri was feeling bliss in serving the Supreme Lord. Pariksha karite Gopala Kaila Agnadana Pariksha kariya Seshe Haila Dayavana. To test the intense love of Madhavendra Puri Gopala, the Supreme Personality of Godhead ordered him to bring sandalwood from Nilachala. And when Madhavendra Puri passed this examination, the Lord became very merciful to him. So always, so we can see from these purports and slokas that how Madhavendra Puri undergone so many challenges, but these were the test, these were the examination. But Lord also pleased very much with the service of Madhavendra Puri. Hey Bhakti Bhakta Priya Krishna Vyavara Bhujita Amo Sabara Nahi Adhikaram. Such behavior exhibited in loving service between the devotee and the devotee's lovable object, Shri Krishna, is transcendental. It is not possible for a common man to understand. Common men do not even have the capacity. So that's what in the translation Prabhupada mentions that it is not the activity of the common man. It is the activity of the pure devotees. Eta bale pade prabhu tanara krata sloka ye sloka chandre jagata karyacha loka. After saying this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read the famous words of Madhavendra Puri. That verse is just like the moon. It has spread illumination all over the world. Gasite gasite ache malayaja saram ganda bade tache slokera vichara. So continuous rubbing increases the aroma of Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, the consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. So how when we put the chandana on the stone and grind it, the more fragrance will come. So similarly, this Madhavendra Puri's devotional service and the Madhavendra Puri's slokas, when he was reciting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was telling this story to the Nityananda Prabhu and the devotees, he was enjoying this katha. Ratnagana Madhyache Kastuba Mani Rasa Kavya Madhyache Ye Sloka Gani. As the Kastuba money is considered the most precious of valuable stone, this verse is similarly considered the best of the poem dealing with the mellows of devotional service. So how the diamond is precious, so similarly these verses told by Madhavendra Puri was like gems. So, and this is released by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ye shloka kahi achena Radha Thakurani Tanda Kripaya Spuri Ache Madhavendra Vani. Actually, this verse was spoken by Srimati Radharani herself, and by her mercy only was it manifest in the words of Madhavendra Puri. So, those verses were recited by none other than Mother Radharani. Kiba Gaura Chandra Iya Kare Ashwadana Iya Ashwadite Ara Nahi Chauta Jana. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted the poetry of this verse. No fourth man is capable of understanding it. This indicates that only Srimati Radharani, Madhavendra Puri, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are capable of understanding the purpose of this verse. So Srila Prabhupada says that only this exalted Srimati Radharani and the Madhavendra Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only can understand the purpose of the verses which Madhavendra Puri is telling. Shesha Kalya Sloka Patita Patite Siddha Prapti Haila Parira Purira Slokera Sahite. So Madhavendra Puri recited this verse again and again at the end of his material existence. Thus, uttering this verse, he attained the ultimate goal of life. Ay dina daya arda nata ye mathura nata kadavala kyase hridayam tvad aloka katharam daite brahmate kim karomi aham. So, O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the uncontaminated devotees who strictly depend on the Vedanta philosophy are divided into 4 sampradayas or transcendental parties. Out of the 4 sampradayas, the Sri Madhavacharya Sampradaya was accepted by Madhavendra Puri. Thus, he took sannyasa according to the parampara, the disciplic succession. Beginning from Madhava Acharya down to the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri, the Acharyas named Lakshmipati, there was no realization of devotional service in conjugal love. Sri Madhavendra Puri introduced the conception of conjugal love for the first time in Madhavacharya Sampradaya. And in this conclusion of Madhavacharya Sampradaya was revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he toured southern India and met Tattvavadis who supposedly belonged to the Madhavacharya Sampradaya. When Sri Krishna left Vrindavan and accepted the kingdom of Mathura, Srimati Radharani, out of ecstatic feelings of separation, expressed how Krishna can be loved in separation. Thus, devotional service in separation is central to this verse. Worship in separation is considered by the Gaudiya Madhava Sampradaya to be the topmost level of devotional service. According to this conception, the devotee thinks of himself as very poor and neglected by the Lord. Thus, he addressed the Lord as Dina Daya Harda Natha, as did Madhavendra Puri. Such an ecstatic feeling is the highest form of devotional service. Because Krishna had gone to Mathura, Srimati Radharani was very much affected. And she expressed herself thus, my dear Lord, because of your separation, my mind has become overly agitated. Now tell me, what can I do? I am very poor and you are very merciful. So kindly have compassion upon me and let me know when I shall see you. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always expressing the ecstatic emotions of Srimati Radharani that she exhibited when she saw Uddhava at Vrindavana. Similar feelings expressed by Madhavendra Puri are expressed in this verse. Therefore, Vaishnavas in the Gaudiya Madhava Sampradaya say that the ecstatic feelings experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his appearance came from Sri Madhavendra Puri through Ishwara Puri. All the devotees are lying down Gaudiya Madhava Sampradaya accept these principles of devotional service. So how we are fortunate to be in the Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So where Madhavendra Puri, such an exalted spiritual master, we are coming from that lineage. And here, and the devotional service is performed in the mood of separation. So that's how Radharani in the Gopi Git says, Tava Kata Amritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shavana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhuvigrananti He Burida Jana. So when Lord Krishna left to Mathura, so here Radharani speaks, all the gopis, in the Gopi Git, they sing of separation. So they say that Tava Katha Amrita, this Katha of Krishna is Amrita. It is compared to the nectar. And then the third verse also, it is compared to the ripened mango, which is like relishable. But here, Radharani is in the gopis are in the mood of separation. And they are saying that your Katha is so nectarian that even the saintly devotees also accept this, and they day in, day out, they glorify you, and they take the dip in the Katha Amrita of Krishna. So say ye sloke padite prabhu haila murchite premete vivasana padita bhumite. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited this verse, he immediately fell to the ground unconscious. He was overwhelmed and had no control over him. Aste vaste kole kare nila nityananda krandana kariya tube ute gaura chandra. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell to the ground in ecstatic love, Lord Nityananda quickly took him on his lap, crying. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then got up again. So here we can see how the because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than combined form of Radha and Krishna, and Radha's bhav is there, and he is in, whenever he hears the katha from, he narrates this katha to the Nityananda Prabhu from Madhavendra Puri, he goes into the, like he falls flat, and his tears, torrents of tears are flowing from his eyes. Prema Premon Mada Haila Uti Uti Daya Ankara Karaya Se Kande Nache Gaya. Exhibiting the ecstatic emotion, the Lord began to run here and there, making resounding noises. Sometimes he laughed, and sometimes he cried, and sometimes he danced and sang. And that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance, he used to sing, he used to fall on the ground flat, and these were the ecstatic emotions Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. Aidina, Bale Bara Bara, Katena Nisare Vane, Netra Ashru Dara. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not recite the whole verse. He simply said, Aidine, Aidina, repeatedly. Thus he could not speak, and profuse tears were in his eyes. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is he could not even fully recite the sloka. He only saying few words of the sloka, and his torrents of tears were flowing from his eyes. Kampas Veda Pulakashu Stamba Vaivarnya Nirveda Vishada Jadya Gaurava Harsha Dainam. Trembling, perspiration, jubilant tears, shock, fading of their bodily luster, disappointment, moroseness, loss of memory, pride, joy, and humility were all visible in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jadya is explained as loss of memory, brought about by severe shock due to separation from the beloved. In that state of mind, one loses all concerns, her loss and gain, hearing and seeing, as well as all other consideration. This marks the preliminary appearance of illusion. So all these symptoms were seen in the Mahaprabhu. Ye shloke ugadila premera kapatam gopinata sevaka deki prabhura premanatam. So this verse uncovered the door of ecstatic love love. And when it was exhibited, all the servants of Gopinatha saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance in ecstasy. Lokera Sangata Deki Prabhura Bayaila Thakurera Boga Sari Arati Bajila. When many people crowded around Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he regained his external senses. In the meantime, the offering to the deity had been finished and there was a resounding Arati performance. Thakure Sayana Karana Pujari Aila Bahira Prabhura Age Anidila Prasada Barakshira. When the deities were laid down to rest, the priest came out of the temple and offered all the 12 pots of sweet rice to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kshira Deki Mahaprabhura Ananda Badila Bhakta Gane Khayo Hete Panchakshira Laila. When all the pots of sweet rice, remnants left by Gopinath, were placed before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very pleased. In order to feed the devotees, he accepted the 5 of them. So whatever the sweet rice was offered to the Lord, the priest brought in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they relished the prasadam and they distributed to the devotees. Satakshira Pujaraki Bahudiya Dila Panchakshira Panchajane Vantiya Kailam. The 7 remaining pots were pushed forward and delivered to the priest. Then the 5 pots of sweet rice the Lord had accepted were distributed among the 5 devotees and they ate the prasadam. Gopinatha Rupayadi Kari Achena Bhojana Bhakti de Kahite Kaila Prasada Bhakshana. Being identical with the Gopinatha deity, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already tasted and eaten the pots of sweet rice. Yet just to manifest devotional service, he again ate the pots of sweet rice as a devotee. Nama Sankirtana Shri Ratri Gunaila Mangala Arati Deki Prabhate Chalila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that night at the temple engaged in congregational chanting. In the morning, after seeing the Mangalarati performance, he departed. Gopala Gopinatha Puri Gosani Re Guna Bhakta Sange Shri Mukhe Prabhu Kailash Vasadhanam. In this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally tasted with his own mouth the transcendent qualities of Gopalji, Gopinatha and Sri Madhavendra Puri. Yeita Kena Kaila Donara Mahima Prabhura Bhakti Vatsala Ara Bhakta Prema Sima. Thus, I have described both the transcendental glories of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's affection for his devotees and the highest limit of ecstatic love of God. Shraddha Yukta Anaya Suni Ye Jana Shri Krishna Charan Se Paya Premadana. One who hears this narration with faith and devotion attains the treasure of love of Godhead at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Dasa, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 4th chapter, describing Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. So, Om Tat Sat, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Author is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavandi ki Jai. So, with this note, I will conclude here, and time is also up. So, thank you very much for all the devotees. If any anomalies or faults, please forgive me. And if anything you like, that is mercy of my Guru and the mercy of the devotees. Hare Krishna. So any comments, any feedback, or any questions we can take for a couple of minutes. If no comments, questions, then we can move to we will wind up the session. Hare Krishna. As you all know, the RKD Prabhu is traveling to Australia, so he's not there. So if no comments, we will conclude here. Sham Sundar Prabhu, you want to say something?
No, no problem. No problem. Very nice. Very nice. No problem.
Prabhu, you are on mute. I am unable to hear.
So are you hearing now? Hare Krishna?
Better, Prabhu.
Yeah, no problem. No. So very nice. So finish the chapter. Very good. Very nice, Prabhu. Only thing we should learn from this chapter, Chandan, we should apply original Chandan. We should not use for whatever available in the shops. The cakes available, no, that we should not use, because Lord instructed personally go to Puri, bring the Chandan and a Kapur also. Together we have to apply for the Lordship. One thing. And second thing, we should meditate on this chapter, why Lord Gopala instructed to go and bring Chandan. And while bring Chandan, is instructing again, apply on Gopinath, no need to apply again. Means he want to say to the Lord, say to everyone. So there's no difference between Gopalji and Gopinathji. That we should understand. Then 3 times, 4 times dreamed Madhavendra Puri is instructed. So he want to glorify Madhavendra Puri's devotional service to everyone. And 197 sloka, everyone has to by heart. 197. That sloka, even first line, when recite Mahaprabhu, you will get fainted. He always fainted. That much powerful sloka. That sloka only recited by Srimad Radharani and Mahaprabhu and Madhavendra Puri. Nobody can recite this sloka. They are meditating on the point. So in this case, we can, in this level, we can understand the devotional service of Madhavendra Puri. Sloka number 197. So very important. Very nice sloka, very nice chapter before. Wonderful, Prabhu. So then we should understand the depth of the devotional service, the part which is given by the Brahmana. Yes, bro, is make it pieces and one piece one day. Madhavendra Puri ate the pieces of the part. So wonderful. Then one more sloka I read now. Any kind of devotees never mind their impediments and difficulties. On the sloka number, I think 187 and 183. Wonderful point. So many stories are there. Even so 186. This is the natural result of intense love of Godhead. The devotee does not consider personal inconveniences or impediments. In all circumstances, he wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 186, sloka number. So many stories are there. Pandharipur, in Guruvayur, and Lord Krishna in Udupi. So many temples. So your devotees never mind their impediments or inconveniences. They keep on serving the Lord. Those things we should learn in our daily practices. Wonderful lessons, wonderful classes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for nicely concluding. Hare Krishna. So, any other feedback, or if nothing is there, so we can conclude with your permission, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Mathuradesh.
very good.
श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत क्लास की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो. So we'll end the session here. So we'll meet next week, continuing with the next chapter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.